You've seen Google Maps, but have you ever seen the dark side of it? Get ready to be seriously creeped out as we expose 3 chilling finds that will make you think twice before opening that app again. If this shocked you, drop a like, hit subscribe, and join the nightmare. New stories drop every week, and don't forget to comment your thoughts if you dare.
I remember the first time I stumbled upon it, just a casual scroll through Google Maps, zooming into random corners of the world like I always did when insomnia crept in. But something about the green patch in the middle of Ohio grabbed me. When I zoomed in, what I saw wasn't just strange, it was deeply wrong. An old amusement park abandoned, suffocated by trees and vines, yet still eerily intact. Rides that hadn't moved in decades, sitting frozen in rusted silence. The Ferris wheel stood crooked, its metal arms twisted like the bones of a long-dead creature reaching for the sky. A carousel sat under a collapsing roof, its horses half buried in weeds, their painted eyes chipped and staring blankly into the distance. Google's satellite view didn't do it justice. One dropped into street view, and that's when the atmosphere changed completely. You could almost hear the silence and absence so thick it rang in your ear. The pathway was cracked, overtaken by moss and roots, but the scariest part wasn't the decay. It was what was still running. One of the rides, a small train meant for children, was frozen but when I looked again, it had shifted ever so slightly, like it had moved on its own. The shadows had changed too quickly between the frames. I kept clicking, trying to trace it, and that's when I saw something at the corner of the screen. A figure, not fully visible. Just the edge of a white sleeve and the back of a head, half hidden behind a concession stand. I clicked forward again. Nothing. I went back. The figure was gone. Curious, I dug into the history. Chippewa Lake Park had closed down in 1978. Not due to lack of money, not poor attendance, but silent. No official explanation ever came out. Rumors started though. Rumors that a ride malfunctioned, that people died, but that their spirits never left. Some said you could still hear the music play at night, echoing across the lake. I thought maybe someone was just squatting or it was a prank until I checked the date on the Google Street View images. They'd been captured in the middle of winter. No footprints in the snow. No tire marks, yet someone or something had been there. Out of curiosity or stupidity, I marked the coordinates and shared them on Reddit. That was when the messages started. Private messages from accounts with random names and zero post history. Each message was the same. Don't go looking for what stayed behind. The final straw came a week later. Google updated the imagery. I went back to check and the park was gone, completely blurred out, like it had never been there. No rides, no paths, just forest. As if the map had been rewritten, but the pin I dropped, that still works. And sometimes, very late at night, when my internet lags just enough to cause a delay in loading, I see it flicker back in just for a second. The Ferris wheel, still turning by itself. They say some places don't want to be found. I used to laugh at that idea until I found the island. It started during a deep dive into Google Maps, searching the Arctic fringes, the kind of frozen zones where life doesn't belong. My eyes caught something odd off the coast of northern Russia, just above Novaya Zemlya. A dark, geometric blot on the white ice. It wasn't labeled, no name, no data, just a pixelated smear that looked intentionally blurred. My curiosity dragged me in. I zoomed closer, expecting the blur to clear up, but it only got stranger. One edge of the island, if you could even call it that, had sharp, clean lines. Unnatural, man-made. The outline looked too perfect. I dropped a pin. 75045.0 N 60 40 4th 30.0 E. The name. It came up as no data available. From above, I could make out vague shapes. A square structure at the center, surrounded by smaller, darkened circles, like satellite dishes or bunkers. I switched to satellite view from a previous year, hoping maybe an older version would reveal more, and it did. That version was worse. The square building was more distinct then, with visible symbols on familiar ones etched on the rooftop. Zooming closer, I caught a glint, a reflection, like someone or something was watching from a tiny observation tower. No movement, just the shadow of a figure. Only it didn't make sense. There were no roads leading in, no docks, no airstrips, no sign of how anyone could get their order leave. I checked Reddit forums, even dark web threads. Most people dismissed it, but a few, they knew more. One claimed it was an old Soviet research site from the Cold War, decommissioned after a failed awakening project. Another suggested it was a prison, not for people, but for something they'd found in the ice, something that didn't stay frozen. Others swore the place didn't exist until 2013, that before then, the island simply wasn't on any maps, satellite or otherwise, like it had surfaced out of nowhere. I didn't believe any of it until my emails started bouncing. I had sent screenshots to myself to document the discovery, backup, but the files kept disappearing, not moved, not deleted, vanished. And the strangest part, my GPS history began recording visits to places I'd never been. Twice, it marked me standing directly on that island. My phone had never left my desk. A week later, I got a package. No return address. Just a thumb drive and a single printed message. You saw too much. This is your only warning. Against my better judgment, I plugged it in. It was a short video, a recording of someone, maybe a soldier walking through a long concrete hallway, dim lighting. Scraping sounds echoed behind him. Plack. He reached a steel door with 6 reinforced locks, turned to the camera, and whispered something in Russian. I translated it. We couldn't kill it. We buried it alive. Then the screen went black. When I checked the Google Maps coordinates again, the island was still there, but the shape had changed. The square building was gone. In its place, a large, round crater. I haven't touched Google Maps since, but I sometimes dream of that place now, of being trapped in a cold cement room, of hearing footsteps echo in a corridor that has no end. And every morning I wake up to find my phone facing north, toward Novia Zemlya, toward the island, waiting for me to come back. It was just a brick building at first, rectangular, plain, a little weathered by time, but on Google Maps, the building in Livingston, Scotland had something. No one could explain something that would make it one of the most discussed and feared locations on the internet. It started with an urban legend. People claimed that if you searched for the Deer Park Industrial Estate on Street View and navigated to the back of one of the buildings, you'd find a window. In that window, the second floor was a face, not a full one, braced a pale, humanoid shape with two dark hollows for eyes, pressed against the glass, like it had been waiting. No one knew how long it had been there, but once someone posted it on Reddit, it spread like wildfire. The thread was titled, "There's something in that building and it sees you." Curious, I searched it myself. The moment I dropped the little Street View man onto the road, I felt cold. The screen flickered for a moment, just a brief black flash, like a skipped heartbeat, then loaded the street buyer. And there it was. The building looked abandoned, but the second floor window, something was behind it, a white face, skin stretched too tight with hollow sockets, and a gaping slit where a mouth should have been. The image was blurry, distorted by the glass, but undeniably there. I tried to move the view, go forward, zoom in. The image refused to sharpen. Instead, the face seemed to shift ever so slightly, closer to the glass, like it knew I was watching. I took screenshots, posted them, but the next day, they were gone. Corrupted files. Every single one. I went back to Google Maps, but the window was empty. Not blurred, just empty. The face was gone. I searched deeper into the legend. Locals said that the building had once housed a medical supply company, but the top floor had never been used. Tenants who worked there swore they'd hear footsteps above them when no one was upstairs. Security footage once caught a flickering light in that very window, but no one would talk about what came after. The building was eventually abandoned. Some say a maintenance worker went up to investigate noises on the top floor and never came back down. Police were called. They found no sign of him, no blood, no evidence. Just his tools neatly stacked by the window. People who view that image on Google Maps for too long reportedly start having nightmares. They dream of a narrow hallway, flickering lights, and a door. At the end, always slightly open. Inside, nothing. Until they turn around. And then the face is there. Closer. Closer. I didn't believe it until it happened to me. I hadn't even realized how long I stared at that window. That night, I woke in a cold sweat, heart racing. I was standing in a hallway I didn't recognize, my feet bare, the walls stained. At the far end, a door slightly open. Cuck. And the moment I turned around, I saw it. The face, but not through glass. It was right behind me. I woke up screaming, and my laptop screen was glowing. It had turned itself off. Google Maps was open. Same location, same building, only this time the image was closer than I remembered, almost like the Street View camera had taken a step forward, and the face in the window. It wasn't inside anymore. It was Elsa, looking at the camera, looking at me.
Ha 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 ha!